I traveled around and I was serviced Northside schools. Most of my schools were in Inglewood, and everyone knows that that's not the prettiest neighborhood in Chicago, but they need the most assistance. And I went to a Northside school, and a story always comes to mind. I won't say the name of the school, but I'll tell you that when they want to show Chicago public schools in a good light, they always go to this school. When they want to show Chicago public schools in a negative light, they go to most of the schools I service in Inglewood. But I went to this Northside school in an early childhood program, and it was my responsibility as an auditor and a coach to make sure that the physical environment was safe, the teachers were on task, and they were teaching to the curriculum. As I was in the classroom and I observed the physical environment, I said, wow. And the teacher said, what is it? I was like, you have 3 working MacBook desktops in your classroom for 3 to 5-year-olds. And she said, doesn't everybody in Chicago public schools have it? I was like, no, not even close. I was like, have you ever been in Inglewood? She said, no. I was like, well, most of my schools that I service, they're fortunate and lucky enough that they have 1 to 2 computers working in their classroom, books that are actually together and not torn apart, supplies, and ample supplies and resources for the students. And what that showed me was that in our communities, we are lacking resources for our youth. Our kids are already starting at a disadvantage when we are in our schools because they lack diversity in our workforce, in our classrooms. And because of that, that's devastating the effects of our academic achievements. Our students don't value teachers. Nobody, if you go to classrooms, and I public speak around, and I always ask kids, what do you want to do when you grow up? And it's very rare that I hear, I want to be a teacher. Most of them want to be professional athletes, entertainers, actors, and those are all great careers. I'm in those careers. However, we need more teachers. It always starts in the classroom. And I was fortunate enough to be raised by a teacher. My mom is right here. She taught 42 years in Chicago Public Schools. And when I always tell them, I say, you know, we need more teachers, they were like, no, man, I want to drive a Corvette, a Maserati, a Benz. And I'm like, you know, what's your goal? And they say, I want to be able to buy my parents a house. And I was like, you can do it on a teacher's salary, but you're probably going to be living with them. But thanks to UNCF on a national scale, they advocate for the diversifying of the teaching environment. They want the districts, the innovation schools, the charter schools to hire our teachers from our HBCUs. And which leads me to my next point in why we should invest financially into education. As they said, I traveled around, I run juiced up athletics after I walked away from professional baseball. And I run camps all over. I'm in Valparaiso, Maryville. There's a father in here, I actually trained his son. I saw him in the room somewhere. I'm in Hammond, Valparaiso, Maryville, Hobart, Schaumburg. I travel all around. And I go to Hobart and Portage and Maryville, and I can run a camp for $50 to $70. And those parents invest into their children because they want their children to have a very promising future in baseball or softball, or just fitness in general. I remember running a camp in Hammond, and I ran that same camp for $15, and they told me it was too much. Which told me and let me know that in our culture, in our societies, we're not investing in our youth the way we should. When you look around and you go to these other environments, in these school systems, you notice that other races are investing lots of money into their children. I see it firsthand with my business. If I name a price, I go to some of these other areas with higher incomes, and they are okay because their kids want it. And we as parents, we as teachers, we as staff members and workforce, we have to focus on investing in our kids financially. We have to invest. Too many times we focus on how they look on the outside. We invest $1,000 iPhones, shoes, Jordans, belts, you name it, but our kids can't read. And so we care about how our kids are being judged on the outer appearance, but we're not focusing on the inside and how their long-term effect will dictate their future in life. Our education system is designing and training our kids to have a worker's mentality. And in diversifying our classrooms, we can get more people excuse me, who understand the ownership mentality, the entrepreneurship mentality. We need more black owners. We need more black CEOs, black lawyers, teachers, counselors. The list goes on, doctors. And in UNCF, in over 75 years, they've raised over $5 billion and sent over 500,000 students to and through school. And that through is very important, because I can go, but I gotta finish. And in diversifying our classrooms, it adds to relatability in education. In 2013, when I was with my student teaching, I did it in middle school in Hammond. It was Gavin. And before I started the student teaching, I spoke with the teachers and they told me, don't come in with too high of an expectation. I said, why is that? They said, well, if you want to give them homework, because you're going to be teaching them for the next 10 weeks, don't have them read because it's going to be a waste of time. Don't give them a reading assignment. They said, most of our kids, I was teaching middle school science, 7th and 8th grade science. All right, what are the grades right now? They said, most of them have C's and D's. Of course, you have some that have A's and B's, sprinkled into the class. And I said, okay. I never gave them a reading assignment, but I broke down everything due to the fact that I could relate to where they come from, their background, their environments, what it's like at home when they're not at school. I was able to break down information for them. I remember one lesson, the kids were having a hard time grasping the concept, and I was like, well, these are adolescent kids, so I can be real with them. I said, imagine you're a boy at school, and there's a cute girl that you like. And you're too shy to go over and talk to her. But you ask your friend to go over there and put you on. That was the term, the phrase we used. Don't put me on, bro. And when I explained it, gave examples, they got it. To a point where, when it came to the quiz, it was like, Mr. G, can we he put me on the quiz? I was like, no, you have to be politically correct. But they got it. Even to a point where, to get them to understand the periodic table, it was something as simple as, hey, you text in abbreviations. Everything is short. And we're like, that makes so much sense. See, it's relatability. Being able to understand them and being able to connect and meet them where they are. And not I don't want to say that I'm over-excelling them, but pushing them to limits that they did not know that they could reach. And that shows that black students who have one black teacher by 3rd grade were 13% more likely to go to college. And if you got 2 or more, then it increases to 32%. Like I said, I was fortunately enough to be raised by one, so when I wasn't at school, I was still at school. If I missed a day at school, I was going to her school. But our kids not only need someone to learn from, they need someone to relate to. And many times, kids used to try to get in trouble at lunch just so they come sit in my classroom and talk sports with me, acting with me, things I was going through in college and experiencing. So our kids want someone they can relate to. And in diversifying our classrooms, they have someone. We have to break our kids out of this bare minimum mentality. They think that doing the bare minimum and getting by is enough. But I always use this example when I speak. If I have one heart surgeon right here who passed the exam on 1 try, and I have another one that passed it on 4 tries, who's going to deliver your heart transplant? And most of them say the first one, the one that passed on the 1st try. Then I have a few that say the one that took 4 times to take the test. I was like, why is that? He was like, he studied longer. But I said, look at it like this. If he took 4 tries to pass that test, then if you're not his 4th transplant, he might get it right on the 4th try. Which leads me to a point where we have to expect and we need to want quality. And we need to produce quality. And we need to not only want to receive quality, but give quality out in everything we do. Like I said, we need more black CEOs, doctors, lawyers, and I tell them, Guys, this entrepreneurship life is not easy, but my education and the foundation that was instilled in me is what's keeping me and guiding me. I wasn't expected to get budget cuts in Chicago public schools, even though they happen frequently, but I knew that I had something to fall back on. And my guidance from my educators, my professors, are what keep me grounded and keep me spiritually focused and mentally focused. And UNCF Indy, they care about the well-being of our society. They actually care about the growth, the development, and the long-term effect of diversifying classrooms. They're actually partnering with Mayoral University on raising awareness to diversify our classrooms. UNCF has provided scholarships to over 300 Indiana students, totaling $400,000, and that alone is commendable. And they also provide scholarships for 6 to 8 need-based scholarships annually for students from the region. This area, up to $5,000 renewable every year. Every year, yeah. In closing, a mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. And you all are here because you all are capable of providing an opportunity and a blessing for a student of color, or you like very expensive breakfasts. Your contribution is bigger than you think. It will be the start of a promising future for someone. It may even be an opportunity to break a generational curse for someone who might be the first generation in their family to go to college, and not only go to college, but finish. We would like to thank the City of Gary for the continued investments of scholarships with UNCF over the past 14 years. And if you haven't given already, please find it in your heart to give. I am donating $75 to UNCF for 75 years of service to our Black communities, and I hope this motivates you all to do the same. There's a gold box on the center of your table that you all can use to fill out the donor forms and provide any type of monetary donation. There is no small amount. Every little bit helps in working with our youth and providing for them. Thanks to the investments the people have made in my life, including my mom, at 29 years of age, not only am I a professional actor, singer, former professional baseball player, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and motivational speaker, but I was the first Black man to ever graduate from the education program from Keynote College of St. Joseph. And with your contribution, I was the first, but I definitely won't be the last. Thank you all, and God bless you.